Let's talk about the use of psychometric assessment during recruitment. Should we use it? Well, yes and no. First things first. Remember, it's not about your opinion, but everything should be decided by what do we get out of it. And there's no difference with the psychometric assessment. I have no problem using assessments during recruitment as long as they are psychometrically valid. However, here is why I would not recommend companies using assessments during recruitment. Remember the principle, what do we get out of this process? This should be always the question with anything that we do. And when we assess somebody, we would like to get out some real, valid, useful information. Unfortunately, that's not the case. First of all, you need to be trained to interpret these assessments. Unfortunately, companies don't have people who are trained in interpreting and reading these assessments. Therefore, they don't have the right, not that they can't do it, that's that too, but they don't have the right to evaluate anybody based on those results. Which leads me to my second point. If you don't have the expertise to interpret these results within the context of a particular job, you are going to disadvantage the candidate. You will hire wrong because you are relying on a tool that you don't even know how to use. Because you blindly trust these assessments, which is a massive mistake of everybody who have not been trained on its use. Another problem with these assessments is that they measure what they are designed to measure, but most of the times, those are not the most important for a particular role. Jobs are extremely nuanced. So we get useless data. And now let's talk about the manipulation of these results, because candidates will answer according to what they think the company wants to hear, and not necessarily how they would answer in real life. Now you go back to the original principle. What do we want to get out of this? Well, we're not getting any real data because these answers are manipulated. And here is the most important thing. You will hire based on this one tool because nobody wants to take the responsibility for wrong hire, so they hide behind these results. Oh, but the assessment showed me that she or he is the perfect candidate. So it becomes the game of blaming the tool, knowing that this tool, none of these tools can give you a black and white answer, should we hire this person or not? That just doesn't exist. Not only jobs are very nuanced and complex, also human beings. So what do we get out of this process, even if we have trained professionals who can read and interpret these results? Well, if the data that is coming in is not real, they can only interpret that. And yes, assessments should be designed in a way that it picks up on inconsistencies, and we pick up on that. But yet, we don't know what is true. So in this case, what we do, we call the candidate back for another conversation, probing into those areas, so then we can somewhat, recommend that, hey, we think, but we don't actually know 100%. I think the cost and the hassle of this process, including that you must have trained people who can read those assessments, outweigh the benefits of the outcome. So no, I wouldn't recommend anybody. I would recommend, and I love using these assessments for professional development, because you can actually see how those results manifest themselves in real life. And if they don't, then you can go and see, hey, what's happening in here?